Most major forces in the Syrian war are now involved in fighting for parts of Aleppo. Rebel groups have lost the countryside towns of Soran, Al-Hasaka and Garnata to ISIL. ISIL used a car bomb in an attack on Soran before moving in. They're not far from Maria. Activists say this is the aftermath of a Syrian military aerial bomb attack on that city that killed many people. ISIL has released this video said to be its fighters in control of Azaz town. That's in North Aleppo province, nearer to the border with Turkey. These advances by ISIL are blocking opposition supply routes between Turkey and northern Syria. Kurdish fighters have made gains against ISIL further east, near Raqqa and Hasaka. But in Aleppo, ISIL is on the attack, and that's put rebels on the back foot. They're having to focus on sending reinforcements to the front lines with ISIL, rather than pushing for new ground. Caroline Malone, Al Jazeera.
Well, let's talk more about this now with Salman Sheikh, director of the Brookings Doha Center, who joins us live now. Thanks for being with us. So let's talk about the fight of the opposition in Syria. They have had to take on a two-pronged fight, essentially, against ISIL and the regime for the past 18 months. How much has that bogged them down? Are they stretched too thin?
Well, they had momentum until a few days ago, but now we're starting to see a fairly familiar pattern where suddenly Daesh springs out of other places and starts to attack these opposition fighters. At the same time, you're seeing the regime also doing the same. It's almost as if we're back a year, because in late 2013 and early 2014, the opposition fighters were beating back Daesh. And then Daesh came back with American weaponry and such things from Iraq and started to put them on the back foot. What's significant about this is that the opposition had momentum in Idlib and was poised, I think, to even take Aleppo over the next few weeks. Instead, now they're having to watch their back flank and also their supply routes, as you said, and the Azaz border crossing in particular with Turkey.
So what more can be done then to take on ISIL and the regime when the international community refuses to establish a no-fly zone over Syria?
Well, look, the international coalition is supposed to be meeting tomorrow again. The big question is, where are the jets of the international coalition? Why aren't they attacking Daesh positions in the north of Aleppo and these positions, whilst Assad's air force is supposedly being able to do something like that? I think this won't even wait until tomorrow, to be frank. Those airstrikes really have to start today. Otherwise, Syrians will really feel that they are really in this alone, and that the Daesh has an enabler in the Assad regime, and they don't have anyone else to support them, despite, I think, the more frantic calls that they've been making to the international coalition, and particularly the Americans.
And in terms of the political calculations here, the Iranian regime has been pretty steadfast in its support for Bashar al-Assad's government up to this point. Any indication at all that this might change at some point in the future?
Well, I think the indications are actually, as the regime has been losing ground in the north, Iran and Hezbollah and its militias have been looking to double up in terms of their support for Assad, at least to fortify him in the areas that matter most, those on the coast, as well as Damascus and Homs and the areas north of that. That is where I think Iran and the backers of the regime will now focus. It doesn't seem as if that yet Iran is showing the flexibility it needs to in order to support the efforts of the UN envoy and broader diplomatic efforts to get a political process going, which will lead to a political transition in Syria.
Good to get your thoughts on this. Salman Sheikh from the Brookings Doha Center. Thanks for your time.